I need the day off because my husband's going on a deployment. And he didn't look up and said, sorry, can't do. And I thought, all right, mental note. Nobody is ever going to tell me I can't take a day off to spend with my loved one before he goes off on a deployment. I thought that's not going to happen to me again.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening? Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun, don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves. Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring. So dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business. Yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do. Hey guys, and welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat. You guys, and I just talked to look, we're not even pausing. We just had this conversation, Anna Larson. You know when you're supposed to start and when I'm supposed to start.
I know. I'm so sorry. I jumped in. Selena, please restart this show and say it with excitement. And I promise to keep my mouth shut. Go for it.
You guys, we're pretending to rewind, but I hope you caught all of that. So hey, welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast with Anna and Selena, 13 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses.
Listen, I jumped in early because let me tell you something. In a world full of business claims like, I 10,000 times my business in 3 seconds, I can gain 1 million subscribers in 7 days, or I work 5 hours a month and make $100,000 a year, or $100,000 each week. We know that being your own boss is anything but easy. And so today we are going to focus on real talk about running a business. We recently connected with our guest, Surinder Goode, over dinner in San Antonio. We knew we had to bring her on to share her insights on entrepreneurship. She is a powerhouse, and I'm super excited for this conversation. Get ready for some genuine conversation and real talk about what it takes to succeed as a small business owner. Okay.
Well done, Anna Larson. And welcome to our show, guys. Okay, so yeah, we Anna mentioned, and I'm so glad because I was not supposed to be part of this San Antonio trip, but Anna was like, "Hey, you want to go to San Antonio for the day?" We were going back and forth. I want to meet Surinder Goode. I was like, "Yeah, I have heard of her name. Wait, I feel like I've been to her website. I know who she is, but I don't know who she is." And yeah, and we ended up making it a girls' night trip, right? And we invited other military spouses. We met Surinder for lunch first. And I tell you, we could have sat there in that place for a very long time because just the things I just loved listening to her. And I and I was like, I told Anna, I was like, I am so glad you invited me to this because getting to meet her, she makes you feel like you are a friend immediately. And I think though you have to be horrible. If she feels bad energy, she's also gonna let you know like that you're not welcome in her space. That's just my take. So yeah,
That's a
right?
warning for all you haters out there. Leave now before Srinda
Yeah.
comes on.
Yeah.
Selena has given you the warning, right? No, we
Yeah.
we really are excited to have her on, and
Yeah.
she is so smart when it comes to entrepreneurship. She has such a fresh take on it, and such a
Yeah.
like just a matter of fact. Hey, this is what reality looks like.
Yeah.
So we do have a call to action today that we want to ask everyone who is here listening to our live and or catches us on a replay. We want to know, what do you wish someone had told you when you first started in the entrepreneurial arena? Hopefully you get a
Yeah.
lot of little good takeaways like that today from Serinda, but we would love to know, what do you wish you knew before you said, hey, I'm going to throw my life savings in and start a business, right? Drop that in the comments
Yes.
for us. We'd love to hear it. Or tag Anna and Selena on our Instagram or Facebook accounts, any of the places, and let us know. And we will make sure and look at those and we share some of them on our social media later.
Yeah. And hey, look, our topic is real talk, right? And that's why those the intro Anna said, and I was talking to Surinder earlier, right? It's hard when you see that I 10x my business, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I 10x my business? Or why can't I get 1 million subscribers in 7 days? Or why can't I make 100,000 and only work 5 hours and just travel the world on my private jet? What am I doing wrong? I think that's why the real talk is what we need. And I think Surinder is perfect for this. We should bring up her bio. And okay, I'm going to tell you who this wonderful woman is. Surinder Goode is the host and executive producer for The Good Show. She was born in England, raised in Scotland, and moved to Bahrain, a small island in the Middle East during the Gulf War. She worked as a flight attendant on both private and commercial flights. Welts. That's not a word I normally say, so that didn't come out as lovely. But whilst visiting a friend in California, she met her husband and in 1998 moved to Coronado, having no idea what military spouse life would be like. She buckled in and off she went. From acclimating to another new country and new customs, finding work friends, to building her coffee business and now focusing on her podcast, The Good Show. Surinder is an OG. She's been a military spouse for over 25 years who has experienced, you guys, 14 deployments.
Oh my God.
Whoa. And lots and lost count of the exercises her husband had to go on. So her husband served 30 years and retired as a police apology, but I'm going to give you the acronym CMC. You all know I'm a new old military spouse, but she's also a proud mom of two, Jake, who's 20, and her mini me, Jordan, 15, who we talked about in San Antonio. Surinder is also a German Shepherd lover and also fur baby mama to Sniper and Nova, and currently lives in San Diego, California. All right,
Mhm.
let's bring this lady up, right?
I know. Let's bring the real thing up. Here she
Yes, the
comes.
real thing.
Ooh, yeah. You do realize my head is going to be so big that I'm not going to be able to get out my door now. I mean, that is a crazy introduction. One I absolutely am privileged to receive. Thank you.
I'll tell you, sir,
No.
we like that's our goal, really. It's like, how big of an ego can we give our guests when they come on the show?
Yeah.
It's
And
I'm
everyone
glad
should
to
be
hear
hyped up.
needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And a lot of our guests have said, hey, you guys are like the best hype team. But I think it goes back to this whole like, let's celebrate and collaborate. We don't need to be like, oh, I'm me, they're them. Let's keep there's a lot of fish in the sea for business here.
Listen, even your intro music, I wanted to take my headphones off, do a little dance. I was getting right into it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is my kind of 15-minute-ish coffee chat right here.
Without having met us in person, we bring it's real though, right? Like we're authentic. It's authentically Anna and Selena, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, that trip to San Antonio, like you said earlier, Selena, I didn't plan on meeting so many spouses. But what just the stars aligned
Mhm.
and it was just perfect.
Yeah. I think one of the things I really loved about that trip, though, was learning more about your background. I already knew who you were. I've been following you on LinkedIn for a while. You and I had one virtual conversation prior to meeting in San Antonio, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I had this idea of who I thought Surinder Goode was. And then when I met you, it was just that idea exploded into, first of all, reality, but also, wow, way better, so much more awesome than I even
Oh,
imagined. But
thank
part of
you.
yeah, part of that though was like you have really overcome like some major life changes, and that's first of all impressive on its own. But then the success you've seen because you just said, "You know what? This is where I'm at, but here I go."
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's any other way to do it. Really. I I always tell spouses, my husband gave me 3 names on a piece of paper, said, call these ladies. I've got to go. I was only here a week. And I looked at that piece of paper and I thought, I don't think so, sailor. I ain't calling no strange women,
Right.
surrender no friends. Um, and I tell spouses all the time, I am that spouse that did everything wrong. Don't do what I did. You know what I mean? Call one of those spouses because they'll want to help you. And yeah, Anna, you have a choice. We all made a choice. We either sit where we're sitting or we actually do something.
Yeah.
No?
Yes. Okay, wait. Before we get into this one, let's do our coffee cup selfie because you're like you're talking some good stuff, and I just don't want to forget this. And she's 30 minutes
Sure.
ahead of herself today in a
I
weird
do.
way. So
I jump ahead of myself, and then next thing you know, we're
yeah.
having a conversation and no coffee.
Where's my
Okay.
face? Look,
Where is your face? There, wait,
look,
wait.
there you go.
Maybe move your head.
Cup,
There we Oh,
we
wait.
have to share. We have to share
Okay.
cup.
Okay. Ready? On three, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Our
Perfect.
imaginary photographer. And I want to first mention in a meeting with one of my clients yesterday, we talk about words. I'm not a wordsmith. I'm very basic. I really am basic when it comes to speaking, right? Because it's in the way I say the word, the basic word that has excitement. But I learned a word yesterday and it was called gentacular. And we all had a good time learning about it. And my client was like, "You've never heard that word before?" And I said, "Nope, of course not. That definitely is." But gentacular, just wanted to let you all know, it's an adjective to describe an early breakfast.
Gentacular.
Yeah. No, an early breakfast. Oh, like my coffee is a necessary gentacular beverage because so I was really proud of myself. I don't know how else, but it's normally referring to breakfast and it's mostly a very early breakfast. So anyway, I
Wow.
just
You know,
wanted to share that. Yeah.
I think I'm going to use that in a sentence today,
Right.
probably with my 15-year-old.
It's yeah. And I'll definitely send this podcast to the client. It's a mutual client of mine and Anna's that we met with yesterday. So I'm sure he'll love that I mentioned it actually in a podcast episode. I'm like, look what you made me do. I'm very Taylor
Listen,
Swift.
going back to your wordsmith,
Yeah.
the word whilst is commonly used in England. Whilst I was shopping,
Yeah, right.
it
No,
started raining.
I was just
I
gonna
know
say it's
surrender.
an
Yeah.
over the pond word.
No,
That's
I know
us
it's a
Americans
word.
don't use
Yeah.
all that
No,
often.
I know it's a word. And I think I mentioned to you, Surrender, right? My in-laws, they're from England. One is from
Yeah.
Burnham by the Sea or Burnham by Sea, and the other is from it's a B word. Oh, he's gonna hate that I forgot all of a sudden. And I visited there last year with the B.
Birmingham?
No.
No.
Shoot, I don't know. We'll remember by the end of the show. Look, this is how real conversations happen, you guys. So we're gonna set the first question. I know I'm gonna get right. No, yep, it's gonna happen in the middle of a very awkward show time, and you'll be discussing something real, and I'll be like blurting it out. Let's get Surrender in the seat.
Yes.
All right,
You're in the
Anna.
hot seat now.
In the hot seat.
Yeah.
Okay, so our first question, the way we want to start it out our conversation today is we'd like you to explain to people just a little bit about your coffee business that you started when you moved to Coronado. And then just tell us like what was the catalyst for starting this coffee business and what happened with it?
But I started it for a couple of reasons. First of all, as I was military spouse, didn't have kids, so I didn't know how that would play into my role as mom while my husband was doing deployments. The deployments didn't worry so much. What really concerned me was my own mental state of mind. I went and I got a job and worked for a great guy. Really like this guy, doctor. There's a thing they say the doctors have a certain bedside manner. Yeah, this was that guy. But we had a great rapport. And I remember I went in one day and I asked him, I said to him, I said, hey, I need to take tomorrow off. And he didn't even look up at me. And he went, no, sorry, I can't do that. And I just stood there and I walked out the room and I thought to myself, whoa, hold on a minute. Now, you've just told me I can't take the day off. The first one in this place, the last one to leave, sometimes 6 days a week. I'm a hard worker. And I walked back into the office and I said to him, hey, listen, maybe I didn't make it clear. I need the day off because my husband's going on a deployment. And he didn't look up and said, sorry, can't do. And I thought, all right, mental note. Nobody is ever going to tell me I can't take a day off to spend with my loved one before he goes off on a deployment. I thought that's not going to happen to me again. The other thing was after a period of time, I went in one day and I said, hey, wage increase. You can see I'm not shy. And so he came back to me and he did pay me well. I'll give him this. He paid me very well, looked after me. But he came back to me and he made a statement. I'm sorry, I can't pay you anymore. You're at the top of the chain kind of thing. And I just looked at him, and the first thought that went through my head was, nobody is ever going to determine what my self worth is. And I'm worth a whole lot more. And I really took that to heart, combined with the fact that now you're telling me I can't take the day off before my husband goes on deployment. None of that sat well with me at all. And it just so happened that I went down to the base to drop my husband off for something else. And I asked my husband, I said, hey, where can I get coffee? He went, oh, the Chief's Mess. And I went, can I get a latte? And he went, Surinder, it's the kind of coffee that your spoon stands upright in. And I thought, ooh. And then I realized there were no coffee carts on the bases. So where were these guys getting coffee from? And of course, I made a little business plan, a very rudimentary business plan. It took me a long time. I want to say this. This is the first time I've said this in public, and I'm not embarrassed about it anymore. It took me a long time. A couple of years ago, I sat both of my children down and I said, I need to tell you something. I did not get my degree. And they both looked at me and went, really, Mom? We thought you got your degree and we thought you had this, that, and the other, and you built a business and you did this, that, and the other. And I went, sure did. But for me at that time, that piece of paper was not important. And quite honestly, it's not important to me today either. I've managed quite well without it. I applied to the Navy Exchange. I said to them, hey, great business plan. And they immediately shot me down. Now, this is the other thing about entrepreneurship I think people need to take note of and take it seriously. You have to be persistent. It's as simple as that. The Navy Exchange said no to me almost every week when I went in. I went in every Tuesday. And then one day I thought, oh, get smart, Surinder, going on Thursday. I turned up on a Thursday. I was like, hey, people. And they were like, okay, it's still a no. Finally, I think they either thought one of two things. We're never going to get rid of this woman. He turns up every darn week. And then the second thing was I said, hey, listen, to keep it really simple, you guys need to provide me this. Then at the end of the month, I write you a beautiful commission check. And all you have to do is cash that sucker. You don't have to do any work, people. And I think once they realized that really she does it all, they gave me the opportunity to open my first cart. And it was the best thing that I ever did. It was life-changing for me, not just from what I learned, but the whole aspect of being within a military arena and all the challenges. Don't think there's going to be no challenges, because there will be a lot of bleep challenges. See, I bleeped myself. I'm getting good at this.
You bleeped your own self. You guys, we weren't sure. Me and Surinder had a good conversation about like our potty mouth. I come from the restaurant business. That is how we talk. Surinder's, that is just how I talk. And we laughed about it. I was like, oh, I wonder for the show. But she believes it. She runs her own show. She knows. She knows.
I love that you just bleeped yourself, though.
Yeah. Can I, real fast before you continue, I want to just say, actually, as a fellow no degreer, I so like you almost made me want to cry for a second, only just because you're so right. There is this almost like weird shame that I don't know where it comes from, where you don't say, I don't have a degree. So therefore I'm not worthy to be in the same room as Anna, who has a degree. And not that Anna has ever said to me, oh, you don't have a degree? Selena, we are no longer business partners and we will not do this show. But it is really funny. And I sat down with my daughter and she said to me, you've worked so hard and you didn't do it with a degree. And I said, I just want you to know there are options. And just because you don't get a degree doesn't mean that you cannot be successful in life. You just have to know to work hard and you have to be able to find the resources. And you have to be able to like really but so just thank you for saying that and sharing that. And I feel really honored that you said this is the first time. And so
Mhm.
if there are any other fellow hiding in the shadows with your no
Yeah,
degree,
yeah.
just
It's all
join the
good.
Selena and Surinder thing.
Yeah,
It is okay.
yeah,
It's okay to say it because look, we've done well for
yeah.
ourselves. I'm really proud of my life.
And you know something? I gotta be honest with you, I've never come across one person that has turned around and said to me, "Can I see that piece of paper?" Not one.
Right.
I was and thankfully, because I'd have been like, "Ooh."
That's not right. Bleep, right.
Yeah, there'd have been a lot of bleeps.
I know.
But, but no, nobody's ever asked me for it, and I understand, I am by no means saying that an education is not necessary. But I am a firm believer, like I explained to my children, my job is to set you up for success. And not everybody is an academic. That's
Mhm.
just the way that rolls. I come from a culture and an era where I should have been a doctor, an attorney. I'd have been the craziest doctor.
I would have loved you. I would have been scared and I would have done what you told me I had to do medically, but I would have just said that Dr. Good is my most favorite doctor of all time, right, Anna? Can you imagine?
I would have loved to see her as a lawyer, honestly. I'd be like, "That lady
Oh,
is in my court, right? That's my lawyer. That's right. You
yeah.
will listen to what she
I
says."
I can almost envision like the slow-mo walking in of Serinda into the courtroom with the two her clients behind her and the wind is just blowing and they're like, we
Listen,
yeah.
that sounds really sexy and confident, but I want you to know that when I walked out this office door less than 10 minutes ago, I tripped over my dog.
Yeah, real life, right? Real life. I mean, that's what it is.
You
Um,
know?
no, yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
going
Anna.
back to your story though, let me just tell you what really stood out is that you showed up every single week and
Yeah.
then twice a week
Yep.
to the Navy Exchange, right?
Yeah.
Like there is something to be said for I'm not taking no for an
No.
answer,
No.
right? And that's not necessarily going to work every time. But in this case, you knew that they were wrong,
Mhm.
right? You're like you're being dumb about this and you just had to find that thing that
Yes.
they needed from you to say yes. And I
Yes.
love that you were able to discover that and say, "Listen, let me break it down to you so that you can say yes to me and it doesn't have to be a no any longer." I think that is a beautiful piece of entrepreneurship that sometimes we have to hear 100 different no's in order to find that reason they can say yes. I love that you did
Yeah.
that. Love it.
A wise man once told me many moons ago, he said, "Surinder, you have to hear a lot of no's to get closer to that yes. But you will get there if you keep just taking those no's and go, okay, no, check, next." You know?
Yeah.
Yes, I had been in a corporate training once, Surrender, where they said it was a sales like video. We all had to learn and watch. But he said, look, sometimes you just need the one yes out of the 100 no's. But can't,
Mhm.
like you just said, like the wise man that said to you, you
Mhm.
got to keep doing it. Don't think because you got 99 no's that it's always going to be a no. Because
Mhm.
sometimes there's just the one yes.
Yeah. And I think for small businesses, small entrepreneurs, when you take your idea to somebody and you get the no's, we take it personally because it's our idea. But really, I think 9 times out of 10, the person that you've gone to, obviously you trust, and the no is more of a maybe a logistical thing, or did you think about this or the other, just a different look at it. So again, all of those no's, there's some value in them. Every time somebody says no to me, even to this day, if somebody says no, I go, okay, why?
Mhm.
I need to know the why, because if I'm doing something that's creating the no, I need to put it right.
Yeah, if you don't ask the question, and then you don't know how to fix it so they can
Mm.
say yes.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah.
go, "Okay, thank you for your time, I'm out," and walk out the door and don't try and dig just a little bit further. Now, again, we're always gonna there will be a time where you hit that person that's no, and they're really unkind about it, and they are like they built a brick wall and you're not
Yeah.
bypassing it, period,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But you know what I love about your stories? You said, then I went, let's go back on Thursday. Maybe somebody else will be there and they'll say something different.
Yes, exactly. It's like that whole thing about the beginning of every year. Now, this is a tip for my financial tip for everybody, business or no business. At the beginning of the year, I phone my credit card companies and I ask them for a new rate of interest. Every year when I do that, I have to make on average 6 phone calls to the same credit card company to actually find that one person that goes, "Oh, Mrs. Good, you have excellent credit. Absolutely. Let's take it down a point," you know? But again, it's persistent. You've got to do it. And like you said, Anna, you're going to get to that person that's going to go, "Oh, yeah, you're right. That's smart."
Or become
Yeah.
champion, right? That
Yeah.
says,
Yes.
"Ooh, I see your vision. Let me help you talk to person in charge that is
Yeah.
gonna be able to say yes to you,"
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's just finding that one in that lets
Mhm.
it still may end up being a no, but if you don't explore that, it's the regret that comes, right?
Yeah.
What if
Yes.
I had
Yeah.
Yes.
just done one more thing? Right?
And you also have one person there in front of you that you're talking to that is a referral. Because
Mhm.
chances are, I've always said to people, okay, who else do you know, Baba? Who can I take this to?
Yeah.
And
You are
Yeah.
people are very happy to help. People want
Want to
to
help.
help. Yes,
mhm.
they
Yeah.
really do. And we just don't. Pride,
Mhm.
fear, insecurity, whatever you want to call it, doesn't
Mhm.
allow people to. But every entrepreneur should know there's plenty of them out there that really want to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Surinder, can I ask you real fast? Like, I know you mentioned at the dinner, you started with one cart. And
Yes,
what was your highest amount of carts that you were able to get out there as part of your business?
13 in total. Now, not all 13 were on base.
Yeah.
On bases, I had about 10. And then the 3 I had outside were part of exercises with the military, or it
Mhm.
was a completely different event, a short-term thing, but
Yeah.
long-term kind of thing, yeah. But,
See, you guys, she was persistent and it went
Mhm.
from 1 to 13. Can you imagine if she gave up?
I
But
know.
can I share? Do you mind if I share that they asked you to go national?
Yes, yes, they
Like,
did.
it
Yeah.
didn't end at 13. It wasn't 10 to 13 because Surinder said they said, "All right, that's enough." Or Surinder said, "Okay, woo, done my good deed for the day." They asked you to build bigger, and it was your decision to say, "That's
No.
not in my plan."
Yeah,
And so you can really see how finding that yes just burst open your opportunity, which is amazing.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so let me throw this up there. Can you tell us what was the hardest thing about being that coffee cart owner, being that entrepreneur? What was the hardest thing for you?
The hardest thing was the stress that you carry as an entrepreneur. I had just walked away from a very well-paying job because of those 2 statements. And we'd purchased a house. We still didn't have kids yet, but I knew we were gonna have kids. And again, for my mental state of mind, I had to work, but I had to bring in some money. So what I did was I went to every place I could think of at the time to get a loan, a business loan. In that day and age, I sound like I'm prehistoric, but I'm older than dirt. In that day and age, there wasn't these resources or groups, entities that are now. So I got no money. So the biggest stressful thing for me was I took money out of my savings, a big chunk, and I put it into something that I believed, I knew I would make it work. But I was married to a guy whose priority is serving, he's in the military. He's looking at me going, okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to walk away from a really safe job, even though you don't like the guy too much, and you're going to open a business on base and you're going to sell coffee. And I was like, Roger that. And I think there's some stress that you carry from a partner not scrutinizing you, because my husband never scrutinized me. And I will say he supported me in every way, shape, or form he could. But obviously, he's in the military. I'm an entrepreneur. It's two different mindsets. I'm willing to take a bit of a risk. Whereas he's now 2 weeks, we got a paycheck. This is what we do. Deal. So carrying that mental stress and not being able to share it with somebody. See the rest of the stuff. I say this to entrepreneurs all the time. If you are operating a transactional business like I was, I gave them coffee, they gave me money. If something is wrong between the brewing of the coffee and the taking of the money, those things are really actionable logistics. You can figure that out and you're good. What you carry in your mind, only you carry. And if you can't, if you don't have somebody, and I didn't have anybody at the time, to be able to go, hey, this is how much I did in sales. Because my first day in sales, I'll admit, I made $25. $25. And to be honest with you, 10 of them I put in myself, right?
Hey, you wouldn't be the first entrepreneur to do that on the day one. Let's be
Like
real.
my
You
first
know?
$1 bill, and I am the one who gave it to me.
Yes. But $25, and I was embarrassed to tell my husband. I was like, I've been out there since 0400 and it's now 1600 and I made $25, baby.
Did you worry at that moment, I
Yes.
made the wrong choice?
Oh my gosh, yes. And not just at that moment. I think throughout your entrepreneurial journey, as you ladies both know, when you pivot or when you come up to something that maybe isn't working out, I think it is normal human nature to first and foremost look at yourself and go, oh, what did I do? Or what should I have done? But yeah, that first day, I thought you've just made a boo of huge mass. And then because it scared me a little bit, worried me, I had anxiety, that I just remember throughout my working out years that somebody once said to me, your biggest muscle is your mind. And at that night, I thought to myself, hey, lady, you gave up a great big job and you did, da, 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 da. Failure is not an option.
Mm.
So that's how I functioned moving forward.
That's
I
so
love that.
I'm so
Yeah.
intrigued by that because in my head, I'm thinking, sometimes you have to say, "I made the wrong choice," right? And I guess there's, like, this almost this moment where I can make this work or where you're fighting that losing battle. I was listening to something the other day, and they were saying, sometimes an idea you have, you may think it's the greatest thing in the world, but it's a bad idea. It's just a bad idea. I'm sorry. If nobody else can get behind your idea,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to what you were saying. I'm like, that's so hard for entrepreneurs to know. Is it a bad idea? Or do I just have to keep
Mhm.
pushing and trying? And I feel like a lot of that is mindset, right? Like
Mhm.
you're talking about.
I think the other thing as well that you have to do, which is part and parcel of being an entrepreneur, before you set that up, you do your due diligence.
Mm.
Yeah.
I knew I was onto a winner because I stood outside that Navy Exchange every day for a week, including weekends, at 0400. I counted cars coming onto the base. I counted how many people walked into the exchange the minute it opened. I counted how many people went towards that Navy Exchange, got to the door, realized it was closed, and went back to their car. And then when I saw them again, I said, what were you going to buy from the exchange? And they went, just water. So then I went to the Navy Exchange and I went, hey, can I sell water until you guys open up? And
Genius.
can I sell Copenhagen as well? And can
Right, right.
and they were like, no, surrender, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. But again, to me, that's an untapped market. That's a business right there.
Yeah. And I
So,
really like that you said, though, there is something to researching and collecting data to help you make decisions on whether it's going to be good or not. The fact that
mm,
you rented cars, you knew why they were going in and that you could provide that service because it was a need,
mhm.
that's genius. I always get sad when there are some people that don't do the research, don't do the data. They do day one and then they're like, guess it just didn't work. And then they close shop. And I thought, anyway, we could talk about that all day. But just I love hearing that because it does. It takes work, you guys. It is not easy. So
It
just
is
know
not
you gotta
easy.
put the work in.
Mhm. Yeah. And it's not just work for a day. Sometimes
No.
it's work for a year.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's work for 2 years, right? In order to prepare yourself to truly meet success. And that doesn't mean you're not going to still get no's and you're still not going to experience failure. But if you're prepared, I feel like then you have, it's almost like a more of a superpower, at least an understanding of where I need to go versus
Yeah.
feeling like totally left with nothing
Yeah.
and no ideas.
Yeah.
I think the other part of entrepreneurship, and I hope a lot of spouses get to this point, you need help. You need an employee. Taking on employees for me, I do a lot of things out of the box. Hiring of employees, I had a little system set up where I would say to 10 girls at once, your interview time is at 2 o'clock. So I want all 10 of them to arrive at 2 o'clock. My office was located on base and my car was located outside the exchange and I was inside the exchange in my office. So I would watch from the Navy Exchange all of the girls coming onto base and they'd all have given them base access, whatever, coming onto base. And there was a big tree planter. That was the only place to sit. And I'd stand inside that exchange and I would look at these females and I would see, okay, who's talking to who? Has anybody gone up to my barista and spoken to her? Has
Yeah.
anybody ordered a coffee? Has anybody interacted with anybody walking by? Do they seem pleasant, friendly? What are they wearing? Again, I'm proud of being old. When you came to me for an interview, you have to have your bleep squared away. So I would look at all of this, and then randomly, when I was interviewing the girls, I'd run outside and say to one of my customers, "Hey, listen, you're going to be a master chief. Just pretend you're a master chief for 5 minutes. You're going to walk in my office, and then you're going to ask a question to somebody." And they'd saunter in, and I'd go, "Oh, Master Chief's here today, Master Chief Davis. This is the Debbie. Would you have any questions for Master Chief? Or Master Chief, you have any questions for her?" And they'd have a little tete-a-tete, and then they'd leave, and then I'd finish interviewing the girl, and I'd say to her, if I liked her, I'd turn around to her and go, "Okay, I like you, but I don't give out the jobs. The final say has to come from the girls that work with me." So then I would have my employees interview, and it is amazing. Always give credit to those that help you, because you can't be where you are without the help. You got to remember that. But my girls, smartest bunch of baristas ever. And they would say things to me like, "Hey, boss, she's this and that, and this didn't add up on a resume and whatever." And I took a lot of stock into what those girls said. And I built a team that was just absolutely fantastic. They worked really hard. These girls, all of these girls, and most of them I stay in touch with today, just good work ethic, good humans. We all had a laugh. We all spoke smack, especially to the guys. I got to be honest, but we did because we could. But yeah, great bunch of gals. And so employees, when it comes to the employee, that's a headache in itself, you
Yeah.
know?
Thank you for sharing another element of running a business. When you start to include a team, how being a
Yeah.
good leader and really listening can make a difference to having a really strong team behind you,
Hmm. They've got to feel
because, yeah,
valued.
yeah,
And I used to say to them, look, this is how I do it. But if you know a better way to do this, a smarter way to do it, then let's do it. I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything.
Well, you also really set your team up for success by allowing them to have say in how they felt about the potential new hire. What you did is you gave them a voice, first of all, right? So they did feel valued. But second, you already created like a friendship, a camaraderie there
Mhm,
between them, where the girl getting hired knew she was already approved by the team, and
mhm.
the team was excited to have someone that they liked and respected and felt good about coming on board. Like, that to me is, like, optimal win
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
where if it's just rando person coming in after coming in and you're like, "I don't know anything about them," and maybe you're not an extrovert like me, right? Maybe you're an introvert and you don't wanna talk to people,
Mhm.
and you don't want to have to spill your life story in order to make a connection in that way. It just makes it really a lot harder. So I really love even your take on how you placed value on that the relationship between your team members.
Mhm.
I think that makes a huge difference in probably the success even of your coffee
Yeah.
cart business.
I do owe it to them because again, I couldn't have had 2 children and done what I needed to do without them, and so it's a big, strong point I try to drive home because I think people tend to forget that employees, we were all employees at one point.
Yeah.
We didn't know it all, and we made mistakes too, and it just takes that one employee that like, when I look at employees, I think my job is to get the best out of you I possibly can, taking into consideration you're never gonna do it the way I do it, because you're not.
Yeah, no. I almost feel like that for that last question. I know we're getting on to time and now Surrender's like, oh, this is the ish part of the show as we're well over 15. But I just truly no, are you kidding me? We're asking you like 10 additional road questions in there. But just
Yeah.
would you feel like that is that what inspires you to keep on the entrepreneurial journey? Those like stories of being with a strong team, seeing how that worked out, how they helped you run a business and also have a family and kind of like balance that out a little bit. Would you say that was
It's been a big learning curve for me over these years, especially the balance part, I will be
mhm,
honest, never been that great at it, but I'm getting better.
mhm,
But definitely without being in that environment and that team, I would not my success, I'd have had 1 coffee cart and
yeah,
maybe managed 2, but you
mhm,
can't do it without other people, and you just can't.
yeah,
It's as simple as that. And the thing that brings me biggest joy now with my podcast, quite honestly, is to
mhm,
talk to those entrepreneurs. And
yeah,
if I can get them, one person buys something from them, then I feel like they've grown. And
yeah,
that, to see an entrepreneur, especially a military spouse that's starting something off, because we all know what that's,
right,
especially that demo, starting something off and making their first sale.
mm,
Or do you know what I mean? I think that is so exhilarating. And I love seeing just
yeah,
the done it look on their
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, even if it's just $25, Surrender, I think that's still a success. And I mean that seriously, but that is still something, right? Somebody still
Mm.
thought you were worthy enough to give their dollars to. You know what I
But
mean? And that should be so.
that
Oh,
just
girl, I did
Right.
celebrate it.
yeah, feels like it circles back around to our very first part of this conversation, which is somebody believed in you.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they believed in you enough to then support you in the way that you needed to be supported at that moment. And that is such a huge piece of successful entrepreneurship. It's like kind of that core that keeps you going,
Yeah.
that makes your business feel worth it, valued, something people need. Is
Yeah.
that somebody believes in me?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. I
Isn't
love
that that's a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
yes,
100%.
it is.
It is 100%. Okay. I want to keep talking, but I realize, okay, we got to share more about you and what you do here.
I
Okay.
So
know.
I'm
No.
gonna I I know. Serena is like the bee's knees here. Okay, hold on, guys.
The bee's
We're
knees.
gonna, yeah. Can you tell how old I am? Okay, we love sharing something for your toolkit that you should have in your business, and we thought Serinda's show, the Good Show, should be part of your podcast lineup. I'm gonna have Serinda tell you a little bit about who she talks to, what they talk about, and where you can find her podcasts. Take it away, Surinder.
Now, I love talking to fellow military spouses. Even if you don't have a business, you have had some challenges that you've had to overcome as we all walk this journey of military spouse. We all marry the same guy, but we've all got a very unique story. And I love sharing those stories because when you share those stories, you empower other spouses and community grows and gets stronger. Also love to talk to veteran entrepreneurs because amazes me how they transfer their military skills into the civilian world and they invest in themselves. And yeah, I'm on every platform. I'm on Apple, Google, Spotify. My IG is at The Good Show. And I have to give a quick shout out to Kim Brinkman, who runs my social media, military spouse, mother of six, and has just done a great bleep job on my social media.
Yes, Kim. We
Go
all need a
Kim.
Kim in our life. Look, so and I love that you support a military spouse.
Yes, yes,
That is so awesome. Seriously.
yes.
Okay, guys, if this is in your arsenal, look, there are so many different podcast platforms. So
Yes.
go to the one that is easy to access on your phone and just hit subscribe.
Yep,
You know what I mean? That's all you
yep.
have to do. And it's a great way to support another entrepreneur. All right, Surinder, where can people find you?
Well,
Where do
as
you
you
like to continue conversations?
Instagram is a big one that I've just had to start getting used to. Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. You can go to my Facebook, my webpage, and you can send me an email through there as well. I'm also on Facebook, so you can catch me on those platforms and look out for a lot of events for spouses, especially in the San Diego area, that will be coming up this year.
Yeah. Serinda is
Love
really
them.
active in San Diego. So if you're local to San Diego, she is a good person to connect with because she is a good person to make. She knows how to connect. I love that.
Yeah.
It's one
I,
of the things I love about you.
but I feel like though Surinder is like the lady that says, "Oh, I travel. Where do I need to meet you to have a
Yes,
good story or to have a good
yes.
thing?" You know what I mean?
So
So
true. So true.
don't think San Diego is the end all be all for Surinder, for sure.
Not at all. Like we spoke on earlier on when I went out to San Antonio, so many more spouses I met that it wasn't planned, and that's sometimes the best way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and the great thing about the events that I've put together here at the Good Show, there's no agenda, ladies.
Mhm.
Come on down, tick the ruck off, grab a beverage. Nobody cares about branch. Nobody cares about rank. We just want to have a good time.
I love
You guys. Okay, this is
Yeah.
why I'm supposed to be quiet, Surinder, because I can. No, you
no,
can
not
talk.
you.
No.
It's a
Selena.
me thing. It's a Selena thing.
Yeah. I'm here to say thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Srinda, thank you so much for sharing with us your entrepreneurial journey and really laying down some real talk, some authenticity, some real experiences, and great advice for entrepreneurs in today's business world. We want to thank everybody for being here today. You can find Anna and Selena at annaandselena.com on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and as always, your favorite podcast platform. We are excited to be closing out season 13 pretty darn soon and starting on season 14. So if you want to be one of our guests, let us know. All right, we're here to say goodbye.
Goodbye, ladies. Thank you for having me. Bye.
Surinder.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. Did they actually make it to the outro music? I told you this would work, Selena. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. Now head on over to annaandselena.com to listen to more of the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We've got over 100 episodes, all geared to making your businesses more fun and profitable.